If you've been struggling to get views on your YouTube videos, then I bet you the main culprit is likely your YouTube thumbnails. This isn't just a theory. I actually went ahead and changed out the thumbnails on my own YouTube channel, and I went from getting an average of under 200 views per video to over 7,400 views on my last 5 videos when I implemented this exact strategy that I'll be sharing today. So if you want to learn the golden tips on how to make thumbnails for YouTube videos that'll get you thousands of views, then you want to keep on watching. Also, make sure you watch till the end, because even though each one of the tips that I'll be sharing today is really powerful on its own, they're most powerful when they combine together and you can get the best results from them this way. Okay, so tip 1 to make remarkable YouTube thumbnails for your videos that'll get you thousands of views is to start by researching your competition on YouTube. So what you want to do here is you'll want to go and look at your competitors' thumbnails. More specifically, the thumbnails of their videos that are doing extremely well. You want to look for videos that are getting more views than the channel has subscribers. Now, since these videos are already doing extremely well for their channels, chances are they're going to do well on your channel as well. Things you want to look at when you're doing this research is you need to look at the colors that they're using in their thumbnails. So what I mean by colors is you don't have to go and change your entire brand just based on these other thumbnails. Just look at the types of colors that they're using. Are they bright? Are they more dull? Are they really out there? What are they doing with the colors that are making these thumbnails really striking? Next, you want to look at the words that they're using in their thumbnail. What are these words saying? Usually, you'll see this trend on YouTube that when you use less words on your thumbnails, they tend to stand out more. But I'll get into that in the next tip, which is all about the design elements of your thumbnails. But just go ahead and look at the types of words that they're using to get people to click on these videos. You'll also want to consider if they're holding any objects in their thumbnails. So for example, let's say you are in the acrylic painting industry on YouTube. Are your competitors using paintbrushes or color palettes or any kind of object that signifies acrylic painting in their thumbnails? What are they doing? What are they holding to make this thumbnail stand out more? You'll also want to consider what imagery they're using. So are they only incorporating images of themselves in the thumbnail, or are they using something else as the thumbnail? So for example, if I were to do a YouTube video about content planning, I could choose to either incorporate a photo of myself into the thumbnail, or I could take a screenshot of the content planner where I've already planned out several pieces of content. So both of those scenarios can work for that specific video. However, you need to go and look at what your competition is doing and what is doing well. Lastly, you also want to consider the style of the thumbnail. So when you look at that thumbnail, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel excited? Does it make you feel angry, sad? Go and look at the style and the emotions that they're using in their thumbnail, because more than likely that is also what is getting people to click on that thumbnail. Now, the key is to never copy these thumbnails directly. It's just to use them as inspiration for your own thumbnails. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I was in the creative writing industry. So you've likely already seen a couple of my thumbnails on my channel, and I like to incorporate the colors green, blue, and red into my thumbnails. Now let's say, for example, I saw this thumbnail from this lovely lady on YouTube, and I saw that this video was doing extremely well. I could go ahead and incorporate this in my own brand colors and put my own unique style in there, and I could change that into something like this. So as you can see, the elements are pretty much the same. The wording is very similar, but the style is completely different and it's unique to my YouTube channel. Now, before I get into the next tip, if you are someone who is serious about YouTube and you want to pursue a YouTube business instead of just using YouTube as a hobby, then I do have a free YouTube business blueprint that you can download in the description below. It outlines the 5 steps that you can take to turn your YouTube channel into an actual business and sell digital products with it. So if that's something you're interested in, then be sure to grab the guide. Okay, so tip 2 to design great thumbnails for your YouTube channel is to consider your design elements. So as I've explained in the previous tip, it's really crucial for you to look at your competition and see what's already working on YouTube in your specific industry. But while that is true, you also always need to keep your design elements in mind. There are some key design elements that can mean the difference between designing a really terrible thumbnail versus designing an amazing one that'll really generate those clicks for you. And these design elements are the following. So first of all, you need to make sure that your thumbnail has 5 or less words on it. If you overstuff your thumbnail with a lot of words, it's gonna seem really overwhelming to the viewer, and they likely won't end up clicking on it. You want to make sure that the 5 words that you use convey what your video is about, or it gives them a direct benefit of watching the video. So if we take the previous example that I shared with you in the previous tip, all about if you were in the creative writing industry, then you'll see with this thumbnail, I used 5 words. And in these 5 words, it clearly conveys what the video is about. How to write your book in 3 steps, okay? And I made sure that I only included 5 words, and I summed up what this video is about in just 5 words, okay? Always try to keep it at 5 words or less, because that is the least overwhelming. And you can also make these words really bold and bright to capture the viewer's attention more. The next design element that you need to keep in mind is to incorporate color into your thumbnail. So when it comes to incorporating color into your thumbnail, yes, it is important to look at your competition, but it's also important to consider what thumbnails generally capture people's attention. Now, when you go ahead and you scroll through the YouTube homepage, you'll likely see that the thumbnails that really capture your attention are the ones with bright and bold colors. Those videos are the ones that immediately capture a person's eye. And so what you can do for your own YouTube thumbnails is, if your brand has bright colors, try to incorporate them into your thumbnail in some way. It can either be through your images or it can be through your text. Just try to make the thumbnail as striking as possible, so whenever people scroll through the YouTube home feed or through their suggested videos, they immediately see yours. The last design element is you want to try to incorporate a photo of yourself into your thumbnail. Now, this isn't always going to be the case. Sometimes you won't be able to do this if you are trying to show people a specific content planner. Like I mentioned earlier, you may want to use the actual content planner as the thumbnail, but in many cases it is better to incorporate a photo of yourself into the thumbnail, because if we're honest, people connect with people, right? So you want them to connect with you as a person. And so if you can incorporate a photo of yourself where you specifically focus on showing your eyes or showing a really expressive emotion like happiness or anger or fear, or sometimes even surprise, this can work exceptionally well. For my industry, which is the digital marketing industry, I've seen that the thumbnails that do really well are those that convey the feeling of surprise or happiness. And so yours may be different in your specific niche. Now, I want to add a caveat here, because this isn't always going to be the case. Even though these design elements will increase your chances of getting more clicks, you really need to try to experiment in your industry to see what's working and what isn't working. Because for some industries, some things may work, while for other industries, other things may work. All right, and now we get to tip 3 of how to design thumbnails that'll truly make your YouTube videos stand out, and that is to test your thumbnails. So a mistake that a lot of YouTube creators make is they upload a video and their thumbnail and they dust their hands off and leave it at that. But this is a huge mistake. So big, in fact, that it can cost you hundreds or sometimes even thousands of views. Because the thing is, YouTube itself gives you extremely valuable information about your thumbnail that if you read it the right way, you can truly increase the amount of views you'll get from it. So in the first couple of hours within uploading your YouTube video, YouTube will already have analytics available for you regarding the YouTube video's click-through rate. Now, a good click-through rate for every industry looks different. So for example, when we take my client who is in the relationship industry, a good click-through rate for her video is typically between 8 to 15%. On the other hand, in my industry, which again is all about digital marketing, a good click-through rate is anywhere between 5 to 10%. So if I see within a couple of hours to a day of posting my YouTube video that my video is only getting a click-through rate of 3% or lower, this is an indication that that thumbnail isn't doing a good job at getting clicks through my videos. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and replace the thumbnail with a different thumbnail to see if that one performs better. Now, this is exactly the method that I tried with one of my YouTube videos that has performed the best to date. It's all about how to make $1,000 in a week from selling digital products. And with that video, I originally had this thumbnail, which had a 3.3% click-through rate. And I changed it to this thumbnail, which then had a click-through rate of 5.2%. Now, this may not seem like a massive change, but it can truly have an impact on the amounts of views you get on your video. Because let's say, for example, YouTube shows your video to 44,000 people within the first month of posting it. If only 3.3% of those 44,000 people actually click through on your video, that means you're getting around 1,400 views. Whereas if 5.2% of those 44,000 people were to click on your video, you'd be getting 2,200 views, which is almost double the amount that you would have gotten if you'd kept your YouTube thumbnail on that 3.3%. Now, is 5.2 the best click-through rate ever? No, definitely not. You can increase your click-through rate by getting a professional thumbnail designer to design your thumbnails for you. But the purpose of this video is for me to show you that it is possible for you as the creator and your own thumbnail designer to improve your click-through rate and get more views on your videos by designing thumbnails yourself. Okay, now I hope these 3 tips were extremely useful for you. Remember, if you want to use YouTube to make additional monthly income and you don't just want to do it as a hobby, you can start a YouTube business. And I give you the 5 steps that you need to take to do that in my free YouTube business blueprint that you can download in the description below. Also, if you're interested to learn more tips on how to grow your YouTube channel, I did do a separate video where I revealed the top 5 tips that I learned after spending $2,000 on YouTube courses. So if you're interested in watching that video, you can watch it right over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.